Bolaños. Hello, I'm Dr. Jose Bolaños, and I'm happy to be the host of this program for VentureMed. Today, we're bringing an educational opportunity in providing information regarding an innovative healthcare startup company called Image32. Today, on our panel, we have the CEO of Image32, Bob Pelican. Hi, Bob.
Hi, Jose.
And also we have with us Jeffrey Rogers, the CEO of MedX Forward. Hi, Jeffrey.
Hello, Jose.
And thirdly, we have Ryan Morris with us. He's the CEO of Mason Capital. How you doing, Ryan?
Hi.
Fantastic. Today we have Image32 is a pretty neat company that has a technology that aids in the delivery of images from patients, for patients, I guess, that allows for collaboration. And what we're going to do is have Bob give us his presentation, and you can see that on the screen. Fantastic, Bob. Go ahead and proceed.
Thanks, Jose. Well, as Jose was saying, Image32 is medical image sharing for doctors and patients. It's fast, simple, and secure. Right now, let's see, let me get to the next slide here. So, and just a little bit before I dive into the company in general, I want to talk about the founding team. We're founded by a doctor, Alex Flint, a designer, myself, and a developer, Win-Cheng Lee. Alex is a neurointensivist. My background is in user experience design, so my job is to make the product easy to use. I've been at other software as a service companies, SuccessFactors and C3 Energy. And then our third co-founder, Win-Cheng, is the technical officer. I've worked with Win-Cheng for over 15 years, one of the best developers in Silicon Valley as far as I'm concerned. So that's the founding team. We've known each other for quite a few years. And the problem we're trying to address came from Alex and a need he's seen out in the market, where medical images are really trapped in silos inside of hospitals. When I say medical images, I'm talking about X-rays, CT scans, and MRIs. And within a firewall of one individual hospital, these images are traded around from the radiology department down to a surgical department inside the hospital. It works okay. But the problem comes up when patients need to cross these silos. They might go from a primary care physician and be told to go to an imaging center, then go to a specialist. And today, we still burn CDs with our X-rays and our MRIs. And we ask the patient to go from place to place carrying the X-ray on a CD. And what we're doing is trying to empower these patients to move around this ecosystem freely using the internet without having to use CDs anymore. And so we can provide imaging centers, hospitals, physicians themselves, and even second opinion services the power to exchange medical imaging over the internet without having to use CDs and old 1990s technology. So what does our product do? In essence, we provide the viewer, which is an HTML5 medical image viewer. I won't go into too much technology on that, but basically it means it's available on all platforms, so Android, iPhone, or any HTML5 enabled web browser. You can view images, and we handle all modalities. So, like I said, X-rays, CT scans, MRIs, ultrasounds, PET scans, anything that conforms to the basic DICOM standard, and that is really 99% of all medical images. We also enable sharing, so fast and simple. Once your images are into our system, it's as easy to share as it is to use Google Docs and say share to Dropbox or a Box. It's just a one-click and enter in an email address, and you can share very simply. And then the third element of our technology involves real-time conferencing. And this is a little different than a video conference like what we're on now, where you might see with video, you'd see some degradation of the video quality as your bandwidth goes. And video conferencing is okay if you're doing face-to-face or even if you're doing PowerPoint. But with medical imaging, every single pixel is powerful and important, and you can't have any degradation of the quality. You can't have little splotches showing up here or there. So our technology allows all the viewers to get the full resolution image with no degradation, and then we sync up the cursors and we sync up the user experience more like a remote desktop experience, so that those cursors are moving around over top of the medical image, where one physician might be conferencing with another physician, or a physician might be doing a telemedicine review with a patient, enabling telehealth and moving the cursor around over top of their medical image to do a review remotely. That's something you can't really do with video because of the degradation. So the viewing and the sharing and the conferencing are key elements to our technology. And some of the ways that we do it that are different and differentiate us from the other folks in the market. First of all, we apply a lossless compression to the images and make a copy of the original images. So when they come up, we preserve the original set of images. These images are actually large. A typical MRI might be a gigabyte. Some cardiograms and whatnot that are videos and multi-frame images can be 3-4 gigabytes. So they don't travel over the internet easily. This is one of the existing problems. So we grab them, we keep the original file, then we make a lossless compressed copy that travels 5 times faster over the internet because we reduce the file size. And so that speed is key, especially in emergency or trauma situations. We have a very simple user experience. So once again, my experience as a user experience designer for over 15 years now lets me know in enterprise software, if it's not easy to use, your adoption is slow. You might roll it out to a whole hospital, but if the doctors and the nurses can't figure out how to use it, you're going to see slow adoption. Our product is very easy to use, and we go at the consumers as well as the physicians. So we have individual patients who come on and use Image32 to upload their own images and then share with a doctor or get a second opinion. And so it has to be easy to use to capture those patients, and also it improves the adoption at hospitals and organizations. And then the third differentiator for us is the way we handle security. HIPAA compliance is extremely important, and it's a sensitive issue with any kind of medical data. PHI stands for Protected Health Information, and essentially we safeguard our PHI in a couple novel ways. First of all, we provide the ability to strip out the PHI entirely, and that de-identifies our data sets, so that if one doctor wants to get a consult from another doctor who's at a totally different hospital, the two of them can talk and have a conference using our software without ever having to expose who the patient's name is to that second doctor. The first doctor is there in the room, possibly even with the patient. The second doctor can view them anonymously and get the consult, view the images. Okay, that's one use case. But even when we do, and then other use cases, we allow the people to retain the PHI in the system, and we encrypt it using a bulletproof form of encryption. So fast, simple, and secure are the ways that we are kind of differentiated in the market today. The market is a large market, so some of the areas that we're going into are transfer centers. So if you're in a hospital and you might be bringing, patients transfer from one facility to another, or they might, in emergency room situations, you might need to go from a level 4 trauma center to a level 3 trauma center. Once again, you're crossing firewalls, so you're crossing silos, and today they still do it with CDs. And sometimes that makes bad decisions. You might be at the referring hospital, and they get on the phone with each other, and they say, should I send this patient or not? And they can't see the images on the other side. And so the patient shows up with a CD on their gurney with them, and they come in the door to the emergency room or the ICU, and that's the first time that new doctor can see the images. If you can get those images ahead of time, you can make better, more informed decisions about how to make patient transfers. Patients themselves are using Image32 today to get things like second opinions. If you get a cancer diagnosis, or you're searching for the best surgeon to do your torn ACL, you get your MRI, and you might be referred to one surgeon or another surgeon, but if your a friend or so refers you to some other surgeon who's outside the network, you can use Image32 to go get second opinions and other referrals. Clinical trials, so medical device manufacturers and drug companies use medical imaging in clinical trials to measure the results of the drug or the device that they're using. And today, those clinical trials spend quite a bit of money on medical image transfer, and this is a technology that can help them out. Imaging centers is the fourth area of the market that we attack. Imaging centers today are, sometimes they're inside of a hospital, sometimes they might be an independent imaging center, but they will, when a patient leaves, they'll burn a CD to give the patient the images. And they're wasting a ton of money just burning CDs just as a means of distribution to give the patient their CD. And they could easily use a system like Image32 to give the patients an online account. The patient goes home with the account and can go from there. And finally, private practices. Things like surgeons who make their living on incoming referrals. If you're a specialist, you deal with referrals coming into you. And today, without a system like Image32, you get patients coming in the door with CDs every day. And the CDs break down, they don't work sometimes, it's inefficient, the patient forgets their CDs. With Image32, you can put a button on your website to allow your patients to upload their CDs to you before they even have an appointment. It makes your process of evaluating candidates for surgery much more efficient if those patients can already have their images online and ready to go when they show up for the appointment. In fact, in some cases, the physicians can review them ahead of time and eliminate certain candidates who are not potential candidates for surgery rather than have them come in, make an appointment, and spend that time. So those are some of the use cases that we have in this market. Our business model is to sell subscriptions, software as a service, monthly subscriptions. We'll have transparent pricing for patients and for doctors, and then for larger organizations, we'll have flexible pricing to accommodate for custom things like custom development, professional services, premium support levels, where we can be flexible with our pricing. Traction to date, so far we've got over 8,000 users have used our system in over 20 countries. 300,000 images have been uploaded, and some of our paying customers already are we have some folks in medical tourism, second opinions services, independent medical exams, a med school, and even a lot of doctors and patients.
That's pretty good traction there.
It's going well so far, and here's a few comments from some physicians who have used the product, and also from patients. I think one of my favorite was the woman in San Francisco who said she's finally giving me control of her family's medical information. That story actually, she went into the hospital to do an imaging review at the hospital, and she already had used Image32, but she went in to have the review, and the hospitals had access to the images, but their computer system was down. She had her iPad there. She logged on to Image32, and she showed them in the hospital her images on him because the hospital system broke down. That was a great story for us.
That's funny.
Yeah. And so that's kind of it. So as you can see, we operate out at the fringe levels of the organizations where the doctors and the patients interface with each other, and where those patients cross over silos of one organization to another, and where the patients are going and getting referrals and moving around the system. That's really where our value comes in, and that's how I would sum up Image32.
Oh, fantastic. Bob, that's great. Do you want me to play the little intro video that you have on the internet?
You can do that, or we can go straight to questions. It's up to you.
Let me. Yeah, I think actually you explained everything really well. Can you unshare the screen?
Sure.
And Bob, let me jump in with the first question. Have you been able to? It's a pretty incredible tool. Have you been able to quantify the amount of savings and productivity? I know it's very difficult, but if you think about having, I've had knee surgery and had to get multiple MRIs just for second opinions. People lose CDs, discs, just the time and effort of doctors waiting to get the images and finding time to view them while the patient is sitting there. The savings here would be tremendous.
We started to quantify in some of the use cases. For instance, if you're a hospital or an imaging center and you're burning the CDs for patients, you might be spending on the order of $100,000 to $120,000 per year to do, and that would be like a small imaging center. $120,000 just for the burning CDs. Has nothing to do with creating the images, scheduling the appointments, just for burning CDs. In other words, imaging distribution. you're spending $120,000, and a great deal of that is actually the CD burning time and the time that you have staff that's sitting there burning CDs. It takes up to 15 minutes to burn a CD, and they might do 50 a day, and so yeah, we're looking at right there that we could save them as much as like $70,000 for a company that did 500 a month images.
And that's small. When you're talking about a hospital, it could be larger than that, right?
Oh yeah, that'd be for a small imaging center.
Yeah. What's interesting is I in particular had a problem when I was in clinical practice where patients would bring me a DVD and I'd put it into my Mac and I couldn't read it. And my understanding is 40% of the time that happens.
Oh, it happens all the time, Jose. We all the time. We a lot of our advertising we put out there for folks who don't have a CD or they have a CD, sorry, and they can't read it. And our first assumption was, well, we'll get a lot of patients. 20% of the people who answer those, who click on those ads and come to Image 32, 20% of them are doctors who can't read the images, and they're trying to come in through our patient advertising, basically, just to be able to read the images.
If a hospital would be interested in deploying your system, tell me how that can benefit the hospital.
Sure. So there's a couple ways, and like I said, the first way that's obvious is when that hospital on outgoing patients who they're burning the CDs. So similar to an imaging center, but hospitals have sometimes in-house imaging centers where they're burning CDs for the patients that are coming out. But the other way that we help hospitals is patients who are coming in. So a lot of hospitals are referral centers. Think of the best, and it's obvious to think about MD Anderson if you have cancer, or the Mayo Clinic. People are coming into those institutions from all over the place. And when they come, they've got their images done somewhere else, right? And so today, if you go and you say, I'm thinking about visiting the Mayo Clinic, they're going to tell you, burn a copy of your CD and FedEx it to us ahead of time, and we'll take a look, and then you can get on a plane and come visit. But it doesn't have to be just the MD Andersons, the Mayo Clinics. Any hospital that as a referral center, even if it's just another hospital across town who's sending you patients for a certain condition. For instance, if you're the local brain surgery center, not every hospital in your area has got brain surgeons. And so if a patient somewhere needs brain surgery, they all send them to the same hospital in a certain area, or they'll have referral networks set up. And once again, that's a situation where these incoming patients, they represent good business. It's good referral business. But right now, the patients still walk in the door with CDs, and there's still bad decision making in that.
I really like the fact that you guys can, when we were discussing this earlier, that you can co-brand the delivery of this service for the hospital, so that it actually has an enhanced visibility to the medical community, to the surgeons that potentially might bring in new cases into the hospital, and it creates basically an enhanced safety mechanism. You have the access to the images for better diagnosis, and it sounds very exciting, something that isn't available today and is of great value to the patient as well as the physician.
Absolutely, Jose. The co-branding is key because, like you said, these institutions and even the small practices work on referral business, and so it's key for them for their customers who are coming in, or for the referral partners, to be able to see their brand and to understand where the patient's going and how that works. So yes.
Bob, what's your 5-year vision for the company?
Well, we want to grow to be one of the largest medical imaging providers, and because we're on a commercial infrastructure, so we didn't go out and build our own data centers. We evaluated the two leading data centers at the time, which is Amazon Web Services and Google Cloud Platform, and we chose to utilize Google Cloud Platform. That allows us to scale, unlike some of the competitors who are out there in the market who have built their own data centers. They started up 5 years ago. They built their own data centers because HIPAA compliance was the #1 concern, and back then the Amazons and the Googles and the Rackspaces weren't HIPAA compliant. Today they are. Google has just recently announced their support for HIPAA compliance, and so we are now on an extremely scalable platform in Google to where we can do things, we can operate at a scale that a lot of our competitors can't. And the vision in 5 years is to do things like, for instance, apply Google's compute engine and machine learning to where we can look at and apply algorithms to, let's say, mammograms come in, okay? And we can start applying big data algorithms to those mammograms and do image recognition on there to start identifying tumors. The algorithms are out there, okay? But the companies and the people who have those algorithms can't operate at scale because they're not in the cloud right now. And so we're in a position to do things like that, okay?
Fantastic. Ryan, do you have any questions?
Yeah, well, so actually my background, and I think this is all really interesting. So I'm chairman of a company called InfuSystem. We're about a $65 million healthcare service business. And the thing that is really key that we have is we are embedded in 1,600 oncology clinics, so probably half the country. And we have recurring relationships with them because we rent and service their infusion pumps to deliver chemotherapy. So the ambulatory pumps for when the patients take it, they get a 2-day treatment every 2 weeks or so over the course of 6 months. So, you know, long treatment cycle. And so that's my background, and I'm not sure where imaging comes in with oncology, but you know, maybe ask about that. But then another thing, maybe a technical question, I'm thinking, so for sure it seems like an interesting place for you to be to start aggregating all kinds of patient imaging data. You know, the more you have, the better, the more market share you can get, and you're going to be in a stronger strategic position if you can do that. So right now, the way people do it is with these DVDs. Is it set up for you right now that a patient can take one of these DVDs home and then upload that to your platform? Is that, like, are there regulatory issues with that, or how does that work?
There's not regulatory issues with that. We still have to protect that because it's protected health information, but the patients can do that, and they do, and you know, we track that and monitor that. So, like I mentioned before, we're out there. We actually advertise for that because we want the patient's data, and so, yeah, we get you know, a certain volume of patients come in every day to Image 32 with their CDs, upload it, and they view it there, and then they can go ahead and farm it out for second opinions.
Hey, Bob, can you describe the technology that you're using in order to make that simple? Because as I said, I'd get these DVDs, put it into my Mac, and I could never read them. How have you made it easy? Explain that process.
Sure. So, yeah, one of the most important things, and I think this goes to what Ryan was getting at as well, is the user experience has got to be easy. That's how you get the patients. So we take a consumer applications approach to that, where we are constantly iterating our product, and especially the ways that you upload. So we have built 3 different ways to upload. You can either drag and drop. So if you get your CD and you put it in, and maybe you've got the files on your computer somehow, you can drag and drop into a browser window. It will upload. We've also built software that you can download and install, and it will manage the upload process. We call it our uploader app. And that will actually auto-read a CD. If you just pop a CD in, it recognizes the CD there. It will auto-read it. It will compress the files locally on your machine and strip out PHI. And then what's uploaded is a compressed set of files. So that's the best way, because that compressed set of files will upload much faster. And then the third way is you can actually export out of a PACS system. Now no patients won't understand that, but that's for the larger organizations, hospitals. They have software called PACS software the radiology departments use, and we can take a direct export out of there. So getting data into the system is absolutely one of the challenges. That's also been our focus, and it's our strong point right now. So we make it as easy to use as possible because we want everyone to get their data into our system.
Well, Bob, just on that note, will you talk a little bit about the time it takes from when a hospital or digital center says yes? How much time does it take to get all of the employees up and running on a platform to use it? I assume that this is fairly simple if you have just regular consumers using it.
It's also very simple for enterprises too. So, you know, like I said, this is based on my background in other enterprise software. If you make a simple user interface, it's very much easy to roll out. So think about if you were rolling out Google Apps. A lot of enterprises, even large enterprises, 100-person enterprises, use Google Apps, where you use Gmail and you use Google Documents for your documents, and you use Google Drive for your storage. But because it's a simple interface and it's one that's familiar from the consumer world, you can roll that out, Google Apps, to a large enterprise, and people understand how to use it fairly quickly and easily. Our product's designed the same user interfaces that we give to the patient, with a couple minor adjustments, can scale up to large organizations, 200, 300, 400 employee organizations with no problem at all.
That's great. Jeffrey, before we end the broadcast here, could you also say a little bit about MedX Forward investment platform?
Sure. Bob is one of the portfolio companies in the first portfolio for MedX Forward. It is a funding platform. We work strictly within venture med, and we bring together the companies like Bob's companies and also the investors within the community. And we, as a platform, handle all the paperwork and funds to facilitate the investment. So you can log on at medxforward.com. And and after you become a member, you can see the portfolio companies and get more information on Image 32 and other companies as well.
Thank you. And VentureMed is venture, venture-med.com, and Image 32 at image32.com. And Ryan, if people want to get a hold of you, what's the best web address?
For me?
Yeah.
Oh, Mason, MESON capital.com. My email's on the website.
Fantastic, super. I think this has been extremely informative, and Bob, thank you very much. We look forward to future success. You guys have done an incredible job with the company, and we thank you.
Thank you, Jose.
All right, thanks everybody. Good night.